Give the gift of a bespoke experience this season that will sharpen your palate and senses. Wine tasting in the privacy of your own home. Joining us is Rachel Mason, founder and owner of Charleston Uncorked. Great to have you back.
Thank you.
And so glad to see you with this beautiful bounty of wine.
Thank you. Yes.
Nothing says a holiday like drinking good wine by the fire.
Yep.
And with good friends.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So we have a few wines to taste here. I wanted to kind of show you some good wines to pair with your food that you might have over the holidays.
Yes, as far as the idea and coming to people's homes, so what typically do you do? Like how many wines would you bring to someone's home for kind of an initial wine tasting experience?
So typically 3 to 4. 4 is like the max that I would say. Just after that, you've had a couple of glasses, you're enjoying your friends. Plus there's a lot of knowledge that you're taking in. I go in through, I talk about the producer, I talk about the grape, I talk about the region. So there's a lot of information coming at you one time, but it's good information. And by the end, you'll have 4 tasting sheets and you'll be able to say, I really like this wine for this reason.
So for something like this, it says, what does the wine look like? So this kind of gives you a lesson in terms of the color
guide. Yep, absolutely.
And then we go along and you have just basically a little folder that you give everybody.
Yep, exactly. So this is the aromas and flavors. So when we go through and we are taking in the aromas of the wine, we'll talk about what we're picking up. There'll be fruit based, there might be some of the aging in there, and then you're all writing it down on these wine tasting sheets, which you get to take home with you and say, you know, I really liked this Zinfandel. I'm going to try to ask my local bottle shop for one similar.
And you say that about 3 or 4 is the max, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to drink everything.
Correct.
That's what these little things are for.
Exactly.
Spittoon. So you can certainly spit it out and just simply experience the taste of it. All right, so what did you bring for us today?
Yes, so I have 3 for us to try. I have a Zinfandel out of California, I have a Gruner Veltliner out of Austria, and then we have a French sparkling wine.
Beautiful.
So which one would you like to try
Let's
first?
start with the red.
All right, let's do it.
We're both wearing it, so why not?
Yep. So just a little swirl and stick your nose in. And really, you'll start to take it in. And it's okay if you want to try it a couple of different times just to get what you're, putting to figuring out what you're actually smelling.
You almost have to prime your nose a little bit the first time because I smell obviously a lot of alcohol in there. So
this one does have, I think this is a 14%. This is actually 14.8. So it's a little bit on the higher end of wine and of the alcohol level in general. So you will get that smell, that alcohol-y smell. But yes, it does take a little bit for wine to open up. But if you keep really focusing on it, I get a lot of those red fruits in the beginning, so like cherry, red currant. There's also a little bit of blackberry in there, so it's kind of sitting down and going, I know I've smelled this one time, what was it? And then associating those together.
It's really tasty. Yeah, I can definitely taste it. Yeah, I don't know if my nose isn't awake enough just yet, but I can definitely taste those notes. It's very good. All right, let's move on to the white.
Okay, we've got the Gruner Veltliner right here. And this is out of Austria. I picked this one specifically because my family, we really like seafood during the holidays, and this would go beautifully with oysters or shrimp. Would go great with sheet crab soup.
Yes, perfect. And its Germanic name, it sounds like it would be kind of similar to a Riesling.
Yep, very similar to a dry Riesling. You're going to get a lot of more aromatic flavors, florally notes, honey, honeysuckle, more apple, less of the lime that you would get with, say, a Sauv Blanc.
I kind of like this better than a Riesling because Rieslings tend to be really sweet. This actually has a nicer balance.
And there's a little bit of bubbles on that. There's a little bit of effervescence, which is really lovely.
Speaking of which, you did bring something that sparkles.
I did. I brought some sparkling wine out of France. So this is not specifically a champagne, but this is going to be from France in general. This one, I mean, it's bubbles. This season's festive, it's sparkly, and that you have to have sparkling wine.
It smells so pretty. It smells like I can smell roses or something in it. That's lovely. That's unusual.
Yeah.
That is really, really tasty. So what would you end up pairing with this? Because I see you brought in like a lovely plate here. Yes, of cheese and meats and so forth.
So the reason I brought cheese and meats is specifically because you can have every single one of these wines with that. The Zinfandel is going to go great with a heartier cheddar. It's going to go really well with the meats. Then I bought, you have to have dessert, sparkling wine and dessert, obviously. But any of these style would be great throughout your dinner. So if you do a traditional, more like a ham or roast, you can obviously do it with a heavier red. I did the Zinfandel because Zins have really good jammy notes that go well with anything from barbecue to your typical lasagna. I'm of the belief of where it grows together goes together. So if you're eating more Italian style, go with more of an Italian style
I like
red.
that philosophy.
Yep.
Keeps it very organized. I love it.
Yep.
And you also say support local shops.
Yes.
You got tons of local
Yes.
wine shops here with great product. So for more information, where do people find you?
Yeah,
How do they,
absolutely. CharlestonUncorked.com.
Okay.
I'm also on Instagram as CHS Uncorked. Twitter and Facebook are the same.
Fantastic. Perfect for the holidays.
Yes.
Make sure you call her quickly because you're going to be
Please.
booking up very fast
Yes.
before Christmas. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
It's such a pleasure, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Cheers, everyone. We'll be back after this.